why was now the time to move up? I assume this wasn't your first opportunity to do so.
Well, it really wasn't my first opportunity, but it was the best opportunity. My family always comes first, and really it was either coaching at Bishop Miege High School, coaching at the University of Kansas, the Kansas City Chiefs. There was only three options because that was the options that would keep my family stable and with the best opportunity not to disrupt their lives. And it always comes down to them first. So, I wasn't looking for a job. I think if you're out soliciting and looking for a job while you have a job, then you're not doing your job properly. So I wasn't looking for this job, and it came on fast and furious. And I'm excited about the new challenge. I'm excited about being here at the University of Kansas. I'm excited about being able to recruit the Kansas City area. And more important than that, I'm excited about being a part of this community and these football players because they're a bunch of good kids.
Is that a big part? I mean, were you surprised? I guess I should start with there. Were you surprised when Coach Weiss gave you the call? I mean, or was that something you were kind of expecting? Did you? I guess
I wouldn't say I was surprised. I think that I was hoping when he got the job at Kansas that I had the opportunity to work with him. I've always looked up to Coach Weiss, and I believe he's a winner. I believe he's a guy that knows how to win. I believe he's a guy that dedicates himself to being the best he possibly can. I like being around those kind of people. So I was hoping that he would call, but when it happened, it was a great experience for me, and it was fast and furious. It was called on a Thursday. We set up an interview on a Friday, came in on a Sunday, and took the job on a Sunday night. So it happened all in a matter of a couple of days.
How much that? I guess maybe this is a better question for Weiss, but maybe you can kind of give your angle on it. But how much of an importance was based off of you knowing and being so connected to the local area and being able to, I can only assume, be able to recruit this area very, very well?
Well, I think it's always important to have an idea of the local lay of the land, per se. But recruiting is just one part of it. Obviously we're going to recruit Kansas City, and we're going to do really well in Kansas City. Our goal is to bring in 4 or 5 kids each year from Kansas City area that are quality players who can play in Division I, and make this their team, make this Kansas City's team. If you get 4 or 5 guys this year, which we got 3 guys this year in a matter of a month, we get 4 guys or 5 guys next year, and you get 4 or 5 guys a year after that. Next thing you know, you have 15, 20 guys on your team out of 85 or 90 that are from Kansas City. So that's a third of your team. So now it's easy to recruit the area because there's a bunch of guys from Kansas City that are playing, or from the Kansas City metro area that are playing hopefully with a lot of success, and they're going and kicking the butt out of the people from Texas that everybody says that the Texas schools are the only place where you can find kids. Well, I disagree with that. I think that Kansas kids and Missouri kids and metro kids want to prove that they can play at any level, and that's what our goal is, to get those guys to do that here.
All right, kind of on to the kind of players aspect of it. Obviously, at this point, don't really get a lot of contact with him, don't really get him on the field. What do you do now as far as evaluation, preparation, and what are you doing right now?
When we had a brief chance to meet the kids, I told them I wanted them to compete right now. We're not waiting until Saturdays. We're not waiting until training camp. We're not waiting for spring ball. We want them to compete now. How do they compete now? Well, right now they got to compete in the classroom. I don't want them wait for classes. I want them to make sure that they're getting good grades. And then also want to make sure they're competing in the weight room. And then we have our coaches stationed in February when they compete there. So they need to learn that everything they do, they're competing not only with the people around them, but they're competing with themselves. So it becomes a habit. Competing and winning, hopefully, becomes a habit. So then when you get on the practice field in the spring, or you get on the practice field in training camp, when you get on the game field on Saturdays, that you've competed and you know how to win, you know you can do it, and you have confidence in yourself, and that's what we're working on right now.
So what about your returning seniors? I mean, you got some pretty good leaders on that on the offensive line. How excited are you?
We have 3 fifth-year seniors coming back, and we're excited about them. We need to fill a couple spots, and then we have a young man who's going to have to step up and play tackle, who's I think he's a 4th-year junior. So we have a lot of experience. and that's going to help out. But my goal is to make sure that they have the opportunity to grow as players, and then bring those other kids up along with them, some of the younger guys, so that we can compete in the future.
How about some of the incoming recruits? I mean, how much input did you have as far as the offensive line recruits?
When they came in, we sat down and visited with them and talked about what we could offer them. Obviously a great education, but also an opportunity to play for a guy who played in the NFL, that played 11 years there, knows how to get there, knows what it takes. And then, just visiting with them, and I tell them, I said, you got to like me, because I'm going to be around you more than anybody else. Coach Weiss, you'll see him every once in a while. So make sure that whether it's here or wherever else you go, that you like your position coach, because guess what? You're going to see him all the time. So that was part of the deal, showing my personality and who I am to them, and whether they liked it or not is hopefully one of the reasons why they came.
I mean, obviously, I can only imagine from the student-athlete's perspective, being able to tap into your wealth of knowledge, based off of your NFL experience and how well and the level you were able to play for the longevity you were able to play. How much of I guess the achievement of sorts or self-fulfillment is it being able to take that knowledge, not only give it to a young rookie in the NFL, which I imagine you did as well, but give it to a younger kid before he even gets there?
I always tell these kids that, I was taught to use football as a vehicle for success. We're lucky to be able to play this great game. I used football as a vehicle of success to graduate from college. I didn't have to pay for college. My parents didn't have to worry about bills. I didn't have to come out of college with loan bills, okay? So, I used that as a vehicle to graduate and financially set myself up where I didn't have loans and problems when I came out. I tell these kids, whether you go to the NFL or not, use it as a vehicle to graduate. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of different problems financially because they're paying to go to school. And then also use football as a vehicle in order, hopefully, to go out and play in the next level. So, my goal is to pass that on to kids and say, hey, you use this as a vehicle. Use football as a vehicle to experience life and to go to different places and be around a bunch of guys. There's nothing better than being around, I used to say, 45 guys in the NFL. Now let's say 85 guys with one goal in mind, and that's to win a football game on the weekend. And there's nothing better than that, than having a bunch of guys focused in on one thing. And so, take advantage of that.
Is there anybody specific in this recruiting class that you're really excited about?
You know what? I'm just excited to see some of these transfer guys coming in. Dane Chris, who's going to have to help us out right away. I'm excited about seeing how Justin plays. I'm excited about some of our junior college transfers that came in, Josh Ford and some other offensive guys. So it'll be fun to watch these kids develop.
What about offensive linemen specifically?
Well, I think Brian and Sean both have an opportunity to have success. I think this year it'll be a learning curve for them. I think they need to get bigger, and they need to experience what college is all about. I'm not saying we're going to redshirt because we don't know that. We always tell our kids, come in and compete for a spot. But, Brian and Sean, both of them, they have to come in and understand that it's going to be a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. They're going to have to put some size on, some bulk on, and keep their speed. And it'll be fun working with them.
Obviously, there's a learning curve for these student athletes coming into the next level. But your experience to this point in coaching, at least, has been at the high school level, and I assume you have a pretty good idea how it works in the NFL. You played in college as well, but again, quite a while ago, and don't really have the experience coaching here. How much of a learning curve do you have?
Well, these kids, my kids in high school, they barely shaved. These kids are shaving. That's a difference. Obviously, I coached in NFL Europe for a year. Yeah. So, I worked with some of these kids who were kind of between college and the NFL. X's and O's really don't change. Your personality doesn't change. The way you focus on things doesn't change. Just a little bit of the different problems, the different challenges with these kids. Maybe the speed of the game changes a little bit, but it really comes down to the offenses that are running high school and running college, running the pros. They all come off that same proverbial tree of offense, and there's just different branches and different levels, and you just got to be able to adapt to that.